All right, what is up, Halos? How's everyone doing? Sorry this still took a little bit too long. I meant to get this out a little bit earlier in the day, but either way, we're gonna go straight into the reactions for, I believe it is day 8 actually, is what this was. It was NRG versus G2 and then T1 versus BLG. Um, but yeah, we're joined again by Drew once again, so what's up?
Hey, hello, back again.
Did you have any deep dives on these drafts, or should we just kind of go through it real quick?
Um, I will say that not really like deep dive, but I guess especially this first one.
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but as it was like going, I was a little worried because I didn't know what like FBI had left to play. Um, because they
Mm.
waited. I think they waited till the end of the draft to kind of pick the bot lane.
Yep, they did.
Um, and there were a lot of bans thrown his way. I was like, will he? Was he going to bust out?
Yeah.
And I was like pleasantly surprised that they ran because I think Senna is very strong right now, especially fasting Senna, and we haven't seen it too much this whole tournament. So I was kind of surprised that it just hasn't been more like picked. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah, I think it's a little on the weaker side. Of course, it has the really bad lane phase, especially early on,
Yeah,
and then her wave clear is pretty abysmal overall. But other than that, her pick potential is really good, and she has a lot of support tools and stuff, even though she's very squishy as well. Uh, so yeah, it was very nice to see again when since it spoilers by the way. If you haven't watched the games or don't want to get spoiled, don't go forward in this video. But NRG does end up taking this first game, so either way, yeah,
and
so
they kind of like stomped it too. Like
yeah, yeah, I
it
was
wasn't even like a
surprised how well
close
they did.
game.
Contracts was popping off on its like continual ganks,
Yes.
perfect
That
times.
man That man's MVP for this first match for sure. He
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think the Cassandra was pretty good actually overall. I was actually so in my thoughts, I think Cassandra is a skill matchup against Jax, but I think Jax outscales him for the most part usually. But in this matchup, Dokla kind of smurfed it a little bit. He didn't like completely keep him in early, but he definitely got a CS lead if I remember correctly. And then on top of that, he just transferred it better into the team, of course. Then Broken Blade was able to do almost pretty much nothing on Jax there. So
yeah.
um,
I thought it was super weird that Jarvan and Rumble like completely fell through the draft.
yeah, me too. So when I saw the first couple picks from NRG, I was like, oh no, this is terrible. G2 is just gonna pick it up, and then the drive and rumble rather, and then we're just gonna be like screwed again. But they just didn't pick it at all. No bans
Yeah.
toward it either. So I don't
Yeah.
know what
It
was
was super
happening
weird.
there. Yeah, I'm not sure. But the Palafox was pretty good with his ult, especially on the Nico. And yeah, FBI Ignite just held up really well. Contracts was like popping off. Perfect ganks pretty much, and then just really good picks at the right time overall. So it's really good.
Yeah.
Also, I was kinda disappointed at G2. After seeing all the dive they had from NRG, they picked Immobile Syndra, and I was
Yep.
kind of wondering about that. But I think she's a pretty decent pick overall, and it actually can kind of blow up Senna generally. So I don't think it's too bad, but I think since they have so much dive, once you lose your flash on Syndra, you're screwed. It's pretty
Yeah.
bad. So
I
oh, go ahead.
I also saw people flaming the Belveth pick, but I don't think it's like bad pick. I know Yike's pretty good at it. I think it looked really bad, but I think that has more to do with how well contracts played
Yeah,
than
and how they
like the Belveth being like terrible here. So I think contracts was just like he was like possessed. I don't know what got into
yeah,
him.
100%. Definitely agree. I think just Energy was playing as a team really well and working together
Yeah.
super well. So it ended up making it look like not so good. I don't think it's like OP or anything, But at the same time, I don't think it's overall that bad. I was a little bit surprised to see it, although this is the first game, so it's like you can kind of just try things in the first game,
That
you know?
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I'm not really worried about it at all. But it is a little bit. I mean, there's like Wukong, there's Sejuani, Maokai, all these things are up still, so there's definitely options. But obviously the Jarvan. But I think they were just trying to test
Yep.
out here, and then unfortunately it went a little bit wrong for them with a couple mistakes,
Yeah.
and then really good play by NRG overall. So yeah, that was the first game. Energy ends up taking that one. Second game, this is do or die for G2 actually, surprisingly enough. Uh, and we end up getting the Rumble drive-in, and I was like, yes, let's go. And then the Tilly, I was like,
Yep.
uh-oh, but it ended up working
I
pretty well
know.
actually.
I had the same thought because we got that really great, I think for my money, like the best top jungle duo
Yes, I would agree.
in the
Yeah.
tournament.
Yep.
But then we got the Talia and it's got like the I think it's got just probably the worst run rate right now.
I
So I was super
think
nervous,
so.
but
Yeah, it's really really bad win rate. But to be fair, this is mid, not jungle, and we've seen a lot jungle, and
yes.
it has failed a lot jungle. So I think also Battle Fox is really good at it. He was also pretty good at it, I think, in the summer season as well,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. It's like surprising, like one of the standout Talias for sure.
Yeah.
And then I was like, uh-oh, we gave them Azir and Zaya as well, and I was like,
It was a
ooh,
little scary. It was a
yeah.
little
I
scary.
was a bit worried. Also, not as slightly scary, and Poppy can be in situations. Um, the Poppy actually played pretty good overall, especially her ultimates, but there was almost nothing they could do overall. Uh, if you haven't seen the game, of course, G2 and or NRG ends up taking this game, which ends up being a 2-0 over G2, which is a huge upset and a very big
Yeah.
surprise. Which
Crazy. It
means
was
NRG goes to quarterfinals.
I know what the heck. Like my pick'ems are ruined, but as an NA fan,
Same.
I feel fine. My pick'ems can be ruined for this. That's pretty crazy. They're in the quarters.
Yeah, so that means I think at least one, if not two, Eastern teams are gonna be get gone then for here for
Y-
quarterfinals for sure.
Yeah, at least one.
At least one for
I
sure.
guess it'll depend on. But yeah, it was this game was a little bit closer, but I thought
Yeah.
yeah, it was still very impressive. It was closer until it wasn't. NRG. I was very impressed with the Talia walls and the Rumble alts like around
Yeah,
Dragon.
the
They had
team
some
fighting
really
was
nice
really good.
plays.
There was
So
one Rumble Ultimate wasn't good, and then there was also he wasn't like the best Rumble I've ever seen, but he held up his own and he didn't like enter anything, which is all that you really
yep,
can hope for.
for
Um,
sure. So yeah, it was good. Hey, North American first seed, the
let's go.
last hope standing, but they make it on in the quarters. And again, actually, before we move on, I would be it would be sad if I didn't shout out contracts for this one too, because he
Yeah.
played he played out of his mind on the Jarvan,
Yep.
just like the first game. So I mean, if he keeps playing like that, I think NRG has a shot against maybe not like JDG, but against a lot of people they might see in the
Yeah,
quarters.
I think there's a depending on how they show, which is pretty much how we expected to go into this match. Like they could show up and actually do really good damage.
Yep,
Maybe tiny chance of them advancing, which ended up did happen. But they could also just like not show up that day and just kind of
yep,
flop. So ended up they
yep.
did show up and they could show up again. We shall see. I don't want to be like their favorites and absolutely not because that's the counter logic gaming. You know, you gotta not believe in them and then
Hmm.
they'll go forward. But yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise. I'm super excited about that. Hopefully, we can see them do better in the next series that they play, which they are in quarterfinals now. So that'll be a best of five as well. So interesting. But yeah, let's move on. We got T1 versus BLG here. First game draft. What's your thoughts on this one?
Uh, they um they stole our secret strat from NRG. They drafted
Yep,
the Senna
I saw
TK.
it.
Um, but I actually think a lot of teams might have this in there because I think it is a strong combo. That some teams might just have been holding back. So,
Yeah, it seems to just like
um,
completely upset the meta from what I can tell.
Yeah, because this is the second time we saw it. I think into Kaisa, right? They played it into
Yes. Yeah.
Kaisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yep.
it might just be something that some teams have prepped in their back pocket. And Carey obviously is like a super well-known Tom Kench player, so
Okay.
um, he's one of the things he's like I think known for is that one. So
Yeah, Zayas
yeah, I
also
don't know.
kind of popped off on the Nair. Not gonna lie, I was surprised we haven't
Yeah,
seen it much this series, this Worlds. I understand maybe not the best one, but it's pretty good, especially counter into some matchups. As well as I was unfortunately kind of sad we didn't see Summit pick it at all, even though it was
yeah,
unbanned the whole time. But I guess they just
yeah.
didn't trust him with it. I don't know.
People were saying that it's a good. It's not as good as Rumble
Yeah,
and Jarvan, but it has some synergy still because Meganar can slam you into the Jarvan
true.
walls.
Got the
So there,
Vandal
it's
wall
still a
too.
pretty good combo. Yeah, it's still a
Azir.
pretty good
Yeah.
combo. But
Uh,
yeah, T1, this wasn't really. I thought it'd be like a really 50-50 match, and this first one, T1 kind of just like ran away with it, honestly.
Yeah, it was a bit spicy of a pick from the Nidalee, but overall, like
Yeah,
a pretty good draft from BLG. BLG definitely favorites going into this match, I would say, and T1 takes the first game. Moving on to the second one, is this do or die for BLG. They have to win this one, or they get put in the 2-2 group. Um, they don't get knocked out, just same as G2. They aren't knocked out of the tournament, but they will have to play their heart out in the next match. But either way, they got this matchup. We got let's see what we got some Guma UC's Jinx up in here versus the
yeah.
Zaya. What do you think of that one?
Um, I think it was real lucky that Carey locked in Tom Kench again. Because this could be like a very difficult game for Jinx. Like you've got the Syndra ult, you've got the Alistar diving you, and then
Yeah,
you've got the Vi. So there's like a lot of easy maneuvers to get on the Jinx, but Tom Kench can kind of nullify a lot of that. So um,
yeah.
I also thought the Gragas was a because Ben is like a really well-known Jax player,
Mm.
and Zeus he definitely didn't like win the lane, but I thought he neutralized it pretty well. Like I didn't know Gragas. Apparently, people were saying Gragas is like a potential counter into Jax to just kind
Yeah,
of neutralize them.
we have seen it before actually into the Jax. I don't remember if it was this year or last year, but it is a pretty okay counter pick into it. Sometimes if you get too far ahead as Jax, you can still just kind of womp him, or if you like turret dive him a bunch early, the Gragas, then he's just that you can't do anything. But he has that ultimate which knocks away Jax pretty far away. So when Jax jumps in, he could just ult himself or whoever he's jumping on, and it's a pretty nice disengage tool. And also, if I'm correct in this, um, when Jax jumps in with his E, as
Yeah.
in his Q obviously, I'm fairly certain Gragas can just body slam him out of range, and then he can't get the
Ye-
E. Or if he times it
yes.
perfectly, Jax can still stun the Gragas, but he's like more than an auto attack's like range away. Not sure if you are aware of that part exactly, but
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I was just trying to think back through the game, and I
yeah,
think the body belly slam thing, I
yep,
saw it happen a few times.
yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the main
And
reason it's counters, quote unquote.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it seemed good. I'm liking these two games a lot because it kind of threw some wrenches in the meta.
Yeah,
Um,
for
'Cause I
sure.
felt like it was getting kind of like I don't know if it was like completely solved, but it seemed pretty. It was like starting to be
Yeah, me
pretty
too.
stale. So definitely some interesting stuff here that I think we could see moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. Either way, T1 ends up taking this game. We're not gonna go too deep on this draft, but which means that T1 actually advance into quarterfinals.
Yep.
Honestly, my thoughts on T1, I figured they were gonna get to quarterfinals at least. I figure they might make a somewhat deep run because once again, this is the same roster from last year that went to finals, and
Yes.
you can't forget about that. This team, like they beat JDG last year. Of course, a little bit different a team for sure, but you can't really count T1 out almost ever. They always go really, really deep at Worlds, pretty much. Even though you might not have them as your favorites or something. So uh, yeah, they end up getting to quarters, and BLG has to fight in the 2-2 bracket. I have faith in BLG, but um, they do have to play another series to get out. So
Yep.
that's that game out, and then we are gonna go straight into the draw show from here. Um,
Let's
we
go.
got the Stone Cold ref doing the draws again.
Yeah, finally, if you're an NA fan, you can kind of just chill finally.
Yeah, we can kind of relax a little bit here.
You don't have to be nervous. Not this draw. Next draw will be nerve-wracking because it'll show who NRG has to play in the
Yeah.
quarters. But for now, we get to
As
just
long as
sit
we don't
back and
get the one
relax.
seeds from like JDG or Gingy, then I think there's a
Yes.
shot.
Yeah.
It's very
I think
small once
it'd be
again.
really tough to beat those two, but
Yes.
I think we could take out anybody else. But we'll see. So now it would be trying to remember who's in this. So obviously BLG,
I
G2,
think LNG,
yep, KT,
Fnatic. I think that's it, right?
and
2-1? Wait, no, 2-1's out.
there should be
Did we get them all?
six.
Yeah. I can't remember if we got maybe
Yeah.
5 or 6 there, but we'll see.
So you probably want the quote unquote easiest team is probably Fnatic, I guess.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
they've looked good at points, but I think they're definitely out of who's left.
Yeah, I think probably the weakest, unless you think DK are really, really bad here.
Oh yeah, Weibo, that was the other one.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Weibo, Fnatic, DK. It's tough for me to say to count DK out because they just have so many good players on that
Yeah,
team.
I mean,
So
what they have at least 3 Worlds winners there, right? So,
yep, yep. Yeah, I think Fnatic is the easy draw.
yeah. Imagine we get like G2 versus Fnatic. Somewhat sad, but also at least one of them gets out.
Yeah, well that would be the if G2 drew Fnatic, then yeah, two Eastern teams would be not making the finals, which would be pretty, or the quarterfinals, which would be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Although if G2 and Fnatic don't play each other, then they we could see three Eastern teams that make the finals. They both won. There he is. There's the guy. Will he ever smile?
I don't think so.
No.
I love the little pouches once again. It's really great.
Yeah.
They're cute. I want one. Someone put it on Etsy. Alright, got that one.
DK.
Let's skip forward just a tiny bit. This is like who they're against, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
KT.
Whew.
Okay, yep.
Oh, home crowd is so sad. Korea will eliminate Korea.
That is quite sad for sure.
Because both those teams have looked good at points, so
Once again,
it is
I do
sad.
want to say I feel like at least the first and the last should not be able to be drawing your own region unless it's like there's too many of one region, right? Then
Yeah.
that's fine, I think.
Okay, G2 really wants to see
G2,
Fnatic
here we
here.
go. BLG.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a
okay.
tough one. That's a tough draw.
Ooh, who do you think's the best out of those two? Who do you think wins?
Um,
Wild guess.
I think BLG.
BLG. Okay.
Only because G2 looked really bad against Energy.
That is true. Alright,
And then
Weibo
Weibo gets
obviously they go
Fnatic.
against Fnatic there. So okay, that's the last matches. They are actually happening, starting to happen as we record this, but we will get
Yes.
some reactions to that as well as the next quarterfinals draw, which is I think after tonight's games, correct?
Yeah, they're doing all three 2-2 games tonight. So we will know by the early hours of this morning who the quarterfinals draws are. So
Yeah, that's
pretty
awesome.
exciting.
And then I think November 2nd is when the quarterfinals officially start. But let's see if we can get a
Yes.
final bracket here. Okay, yeah. So uh, obviously we got JDG and G, LNG, NRG, and T1 are all on quarterfinals already. We got KT versus ZK here. Who do you think wins of these two?
Oh, it's so hard. KT is probably the favorites because they're the higher seed from LCK.
Yeah,
So part of me wants to pick them, but I don't know. Like I said, DK's just got a lot of
they
star
also
power.
did match up before, by the way, as well, in the
Yeah,
0 and
in
1.
KT one. So I think I'd say KT, but I think it's really, really close.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, it's going to be pretty hard, but I think DK has a chance. Either way, I think
Yeah.
KT are definitely favorites, and then I think they probably will take the series. What do you think your game score is going to be? 2-1 or 2-0?
I think that one's 2-1 KT.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And then next up, we got G2 versus a BLG. Obviously, we said BLG is probably favored here. What's your game score if you're saying BLG win?
This one I think is 2-1 BLG.
Okay,
I think G2 will get a game off them.
good game, nice. Okay, respect. And then Fnatic versus Weibo. I think Weibo is obviously the favorite here, right?
Yeah, I think this is the 2-0 Weibo game
2-0.
series.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, Fnatic.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fair. All right, and then that will eliminate the last three as well as advance the last three, and we shall see what happens from there. Thank you all for watching. That's pretty much it. The games are going on right now, once again, and yeah, I think we're gonna try to get a video out either tomorrow or the day after, and by tomorrow I mean Sunday or Monday at some point before, or at least sometime this week before the quarterfinals start for sure. Um, just reacting to these and as well as the predictions for the next matchups and the draw show, of course. All right, thank you all for watching once again, and we'll catch you next time. All right, peace.